Hello, this is Dr. James Gill, and I'm so glad that you were able to join me once again. I'm the senior pastor of Harvest Fellowship Church, located at 761 Sumner Avenue in the city of Springfield, Massachusetts. It's such an honor for me today to share a thought with you once again. You know, I was thinking earlier today, especially upon waking this morning, about two things. The first that I'll share with you is how much it is that we view loss as something very traumatic. In fact, we fail to see at times the benefit, the good, or let me say, the gain that comes with a loss. In other words, the Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. To me, that particular passage means, without getting into a huge theological discourse, that passage means that there is some good in everything that happens. Let's put this in context. Here we are once again, finishing the first week of restrictions due to the coronavirus that is spreading our world. All right, we got that. But did you not know the good that's coming out of this is present, and yet at the same time, we fail to see it? And here's the reason why I believe it's because we're not looking for it. See, if we truly believe that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, who are also the called according to his purpose, then perhaps our heartfelt, sincere prayer should be, God, help me to see the good that's coming out of this loss. I was thinking about how the good that I see is something that I haven't seen in well over 60 years. And what that is to me is, I recall when I was a boy and growing up in a very loving home, I remember the family values that we had were far different from what we see today. For example, we all ate dinner at the same time. We all sat around the family dining room table or dinner table, and we would eat a hot meal that was lovingly prepared. We would have family discussions around the dinner table as to how our day went. There were also times when, oh man, I remember we would play games like my favorite, Monopoly. And I always had the dog. I loved the little dog. I called him Scotty. Don't know why. But we would play Monopoly, and we would play other board games, Chutes and Ladders, checkers, and concentration, things that were stimulating to the mind. We had family fun, laughter, and my mother would bring out dessert. If it was nothing but Jello with fruit cocktail in it, we would have dessert A lot of family fun. We sat around and watched television together. Back when I was a boy, we didn't have that many channels like we do today, but we would watch television together. We would also have Bible studies or read Bible stories. We would have family discussions. We'd talk about life, about managing stress. We would talk about also planning for a future and how to be better citizens, better Christians, and just better people in general. Today, it seems that we've lost that communal connectedness. Family, that's the word, family, familia, family. We've lost it. And as I look at this coronavirus and the restrictions that our government have requested of us to help slow down the spread, and by the way, I would encourage everybody to obey the law. Paul teaches in the book of Romans that the law was established and given by God, and those that have lawful authority over us, we ought to obey, because failure to obey the law is in actuality disobeying God. And so let's remember that and not try to push the envelope. The law was given for our good. But if we refuse, then correction comes. And when correction comes because of disobedience or you're challenging the law, you have no right to cry or to claim anything. Because after all, you're disobeying lawful authority established and appointed by God. So with that being said, I remember how as a family unit, we stayed together. And now with this coronavirus, do you know what it's doing? It seems to have taken away something, but we're not noticing what it has given. The loss equal change. So to my way of thinking, what if this means for us to come back together as a family, have dinner together, talk with one another again? We have so many things happening today until we're not talking to one another. And one of the things, of course, is an easy way to communicate, text messaging. But you know what? Text messaging is so impersonal. I can't hear your voice. I can't see your face. But I can shoot you now. They minimized text messaging to emojis. Just show a thumbs up, a smile, or something. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not being critical. I'm just explaining how we've gotten so far away from being family. And perhaps this coronavirus is giving us a chance to get back to being family, which was the strength of the home. It was the strength of the neighborhood. It was the strength of our community. It was the strength of our city. It was the strength of our state and ultimately our nation, because we were connected as family. Think about it. You know, the second thing that I thought of this morning, and actually it was this afternoon, late this afternoon, when I realized this. I'm normally a night owl. When I was going through school, I stayed up at night to study, to prepare my papers. And like most students, I would do that because either I was in class during the day or I played around after class was over. You know, we had a lot of fun. Then you had to stay up late to get papers done. Some of you understand what I'm saying. But I thought about it this afternoon, and I realized this, and this is what made me think about that. I realized how since the enactment of this law on Sunday for us to close church doors, and I'm a pastor of a church, a very loving congregational family. I miss them so much, but this is my way of staying in touch using social media platforms, and we have several to make sure that I keep in touch. But I realized something that I wanted to share with you, and I hadn't planned to get on today, but realizing this made me want to do so. I realized that since Sunday night, all week I have slept like a baby. And normally I don't do that. Normally I have a hard time getting to sleep because of all the pastoral concerns that I have to deal with, business, spiritual, personal, and sometimes I find myself, because of having so many different thoughts and issues to manage and problems to solve and concerns to pray about, I have a hard time getting to sleep. But to my surprise, this week, every night, I have slept like a baby. Wow, I'm so excited about that because I normally don't. And you know what I realized after thinking about how well I've been sleeping? I asked myself, why? What's the difference? What made me have so much peace so that I could sleep? I'll tell you. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, Isaiah was speaking to God, and he said, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusts you." Wow. That made the difference for me. My mind is at peace. In spite of all of the noise that's going around and the fear mongers that are spreading their vicious poison because of everything we do not understand and all that we're trying to figure out, I decided that I was going to put my trust in God. And so, in spite of all of the text messages I'm getting and all of the emails and the fake news and phony information and lies and innuendos and surmisings that people are doing just because they're not reading or following fact, but they're listening to something and choose to spread it just because somebody said it. I chose to trust God because regardless to what happens, I know God is aware. I know he sees everything. I know he loves me. I believe he loves you. And I know that he's going to take care of me. And no matter what, I'm in his hands and I'm under his care. So he will keep your mind, he being God, will keep your mind in perfect peace when your mind is stayed on him and when you trust him. And if you do that, my friends, guess what? You'll be like Pastor Gill and sleep like a baby. Praise God. I trust that you will remember this, that you'll think about it, and have no fear. Don't be full of anxiety. I want to talk to you next time we get together about anxiety. It's a tool of the enemy, Satan, the devil, you know. And so, hey, do not fear. God's got this under control. And more importantly, keep your mind on him. Read his word. Talk to him. Trust him. And you'll be just fine. Be blessed.